Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Bases Loaded here. It's just me and Chris here today. Blake had some family, some personal stuff that came up, so hopefully he should be with us next time. Blake, hope everything works out there for you, buddy. Never good when personal life gets in the way and you have a passion that you want to talk about. So hopefully we can see you next time. But Chris, your boy Fernando Tatis Jr. made his debut. I was at that game and he got booed, but you couldn't hear it. There were too many
Because
there were too many Padres fans in
right.
attendance. You could not hear the boos. They got drowned out by the cheers. And like I get why people are booing, but like people don't act like he's the only one that has ever gotten popped for PEDs.
Yeah,
Like
and I
everyone's
mean, we also like really quickly before we get too far into it, we talked about this when he got hurt a long time ago. Like, I truly believe that he was never taking anything while he was active as a player. I think
yeah.
this was him trying to speed up the timeline
Yep.
on his injury, and he got caught. But it's like it is what it is. Like you said, he's gonna get booed a lot of places he goes. But I
He's gonna
also
get booed
think
all
that's
year. All year he's getting booed.
he's gonna get booed all year, but that's kind of where like we talked about it a little bit last year, and it's probably more so this year. Is I'm all for us being the bad guys. Like I know we talked about it with Blake too, obviously with the
Oh,
Astros. You
Blake
don't
has
really need to
embraced
say
it.
anything. Yeah, exactly. Embrace the hate, and that's why I joked with you guys and I photoshopped all the dudes on the NWO. But like we are the bad guys, and if you
Yeah.
want to boo us, like, boo us. But also beat us. And I mean,
I'm sorry.
it was
That top four of that lineup with Tatis, Soto, Machado, and Bogarts. Good luck, y'all. Like they all four of them may not be hitting well right now. We're what 20 what like 22, 23 games into the season. It's not going to be like that all year. And if all four get hot at one time, San Diego could just run through teams.
well, and one thing we can bring up, just like talking about the first game, is Tatis, Soto, and Machado went 0 for 13 combined. They scored 7 runs.
They
Like
did
you can sit
because
here and you can
Grisham
talk about,
had
yeah,
two run doubles. And that's all he
God
did the
bless our
entire
little.
season.
It was
That's all
mustache
he
growth
did
all
the
weekend.
entire series, though. Like he didn't do
Yeah, but then
anything else in the series other than that. I mean, he played great defense, which is what he does. He's not.
we talk about this team and we talk about the depth of the talent, and it's like we talk about Soto, Machado, and Manny going 0 for. Xander Bogaerts is still there, and that guy is continuing to
He's
show
been
that he
hot
was
so
well worth
far.
it. We all sat here and went, "Why do we need another shortstop?" And he is proving that it was a great signing. And I mean, he's continuing to hit really well in this lineup and really carry this team so
They
far
have
early in the
five
season.
shortstops on this team. They got
Yeah,
literally their entire infield and Tatis. And like, I'm sorry, Hassan Kim is so underrated defensively. He made a play. It was either today on Sunday or yesterday Saturday. That was Manny esque.
yeah,
It was it was Manny. I'm like, he doesn't get talked about enough. Like he was very good for them last year because they didn't know how long Tatis was going to be out, and then there's the suspension, and he held down that short. Like he's a better. I think he's a better defensive shortstop than Tatis, and that's easy to figure out.
yeah. No,
Like
and
you just watch him
you
play.
can't argue that case. But I think the one thing, and you brought it up, is last year. The fact that he was expecting to be kind of a role player and he got thrown into that starting position. And I mean, obviously the bat still has a lot to still there's a lot of improvement that still needs to happen. But as an overall, like there's so like probably more than half the league would gladly take somebody like Hassan Kim as their starting catcher day in and day out on their roster because he was fantastic last year. And
You know, you
it's like,
just said starting catcher, by the way. Hassan Kim.
oh,
Maybe they should give that one a try.
I mean, that's our real Achilles heel right
Oh
now. So I
god,
mean,
he's so
yeah, why not?
bad. He's so bad. No less so bad. But Tatis, his first game back Thursday, I believe he went 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts. Not very good. He got his first hit Friday, and then he got the big thing off Saturday. Hits a home run on an 89-mile-per-hour fastball that barely, and I mean barely goes out. Doesn't matter. You get the same number of runs, whether it clears it by 6 inches compared to 60 feet. So we got that one out of the way. But he looked good, man. Like,
Yeah.
there were a couple reads in right field that he looked like he struggled with, but he's played what, like not even 35 games his entire career in the outfield.
And talking about that first game, there was that one where he just ran it down where I don't think a lot of guys would have been able to get to that ball, and he made it look
Only
incredibly easy,
Corbin Carroll.
bounced into the wall and just laughed it off. Like,
Yeah.
things like that. Like, that's where I'm like, obviously there's going to be a huge learning curve for him in the outfield. Like, it's a new position, understanding like cutoffs, position throws, all of that stuff. But overall, like, he's just going to get better in that position. And his bat is
his
what's
arm.
most important.
His arm is so strong, he has to be in the outfield. It's either third, short, or the outfield. Like, second is just wasting that arm. Like, there's no, and obviously first you don't need an arm, so he wasn't going to go there. But he had a couple throws where he was trying to throw the guy out and he misses the cutoff and the guy goes from first to second. So that's something that definitely he needs to realize. You don't necessarily have to try to throw the guy out, hit the cutoff.
Well, the first one, I think it happened Friday night when he missed the cutoff guy, and it was brought up on the radio broadcast here locally, but brought up after the game as well. It's not that he missed the cutoff guy; it's just Jay Cronenworth wasn't in the right position, so it wasn't his fault. Like, it's little things like that where, like it happens game in and game out, but it's a long season, and I was talking about it with some good Padres friends today. I really truly feel like this team's gonna struggle the next couple weeks, like finding their groove, finding where everyone is, like.
Yeah, since we got him back,
They're going to get hot. Like, we can, like, obviously we'll look at this team and it's like, this team is going to score runs. So as long as these struggles are getting, and I think Manny talked about it last week too, as long as these struggles are in April and May, come September, October, and moving forward, like, this team is nasty. We know this team is nasty.
Scary. This team is very scary. And I think some players that are going to benefit from a lot of this, Carpenter, Cronenworth, guys basically in the lower half of that lineup, because teams are not going to want to pitch to probably two of those four guys. And we know Soto will take his walks. That's the one thing he's been good at since he got here, is he will take his walks. And if you're a Padres fan and you either want them to trade Soto or not sign him to an extension, you're a moron. I'm sorry. I know that, yes, he struggled in the 75-ish games he's been there. He's Juan freaking Soto. He is a generational talent. He is a player you build your team around. If you have a chance to lock him up for a decade, you do it. The only reason that they may not is if they want to recoup some prospects back that they kind of lost when they traded for him. But we know the owner is not afraid to spend money. Like, money's not going to be the problem. This is going to be how much. And do they want to go after Shohei as well?
You also have to remember, like, people are talking, like, getting frustrated and talking crap about Soto. He's only played 75 games for this Padres team. There was a stat that somebody locally posted, and it was after their first 70 games. Juan Soto and Manny Machado, their first 70 games as Padres, their batting averages are like, everything is basically identical. Like, remember, like, you'll remember, like, Manny struggled when he first got here. It took him a while to, like, get comfortable, and like, you can say that's not an excuse, yada yada yada. But at the end of the day, like, these are top tier players that any team in the league would take, and once it clicks, it clicks. It's like another level.
It's gonna get ugly.
So it's like I will take a little bit of rain before the sunshine, and it's going to shine all summer with Juan Soto.
Yeah. I think he's pressing. I think he's trying to do what he thinks a number two batter should do. Juan, just be you, dude. Just be the player that you are. Who cares where you're hitting? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, wherever. Just be the player that you are. And I believe they said that on the TV broadcast. Is Bob's like, just be who you are. Don't try and be a two-hitter. be the top 5 MLB player that we all know you are. So Tatis this was his first series back. Thankfully, D-backs don't play the Padres or the Dodgers till August. I'm like, yes, thank you for the
I
less
will say
division.
one thing to give love to your Diamondbacks. Zach Allen on Friday, incredible performance. He looked amazing.
I got this on Saturday. Zach Gallen bobblehead. I wish he would have pitched on Saturday, but it's fine.
Well, Gallen versus Musgrove would have been a lot of fun. And it's like, obviously, Joe is back. He looked very good in his first game back. And so, yeah, I mean, it was a great series overall. Like, honestly, like, we took 3 or 4, yes, but I thought Arizona played very well and overall kept it a very competitive series. Like, you have a really good team there. Like, I like we talked about it before the season. Like you're somebody that can really compete for that last wild card spot in the NL, and I'm super excited to see what happens to this Arizona team this season.
Yeah, they just had a very rough start of their schedule, and the fact is that I think they're 12-11 now. That is phenomenal what they did in these first 20 plus games. They have a lot easier schedule in May. I think the only real difficult team they play is the Giants. I mean, they do have a 2-game series coming up against the Rangers, but it's the Rangers. We don't know what they are, but
I'm sorry, Blake's not here, so I can say this is the first place Texas Rangers.
First place. All right. But no, good job there for Tatis there. Like he wasn't awful. He wasn't amazing. Like you could tell there was rust.
He's pressing, but he's also pressing. I feel like, he's in this position where he feels like he needs to hit a home run every bat. And you could see there was a lot of those first pitch swings where he looked like he was about to separate his shoulder because he was going after the ball. So over time, he's going to get more comfortable. I think one big thing is I'm looking forward to that first home series, not only because I'm going to go to those first 2 games, but because I feel like him getting that support at home, like I feel like it's gonna level him out almost to an extent where, but I mean, we know what he is. He's a prodigy. Like, like once it clicks, like league's in trouble.
Yeah, definitely is. All right, moving on to our next topic of the day. We have the AL East in general. Tampa did end up losing their first game. They actually struggled there. I believe they lost like two or 3. But they're back on a 5-game win streak, y'all. Randy Arozarena has got to be front runner for AL MVP right now. And if he can, I know I said this at the beginning of the year, they will go as far as Randy Arozarena and Wander Franco take them. Right now, it's Randy Arozarena is being simply dominant for them. And also, I personally think they have the best starting pitching overall in the entire MLB. Shane McClanahan gets so many guys to swing and miss. Zach Eflin is a underrated move that they made. Yeah, and they're doing all of this without Tyler Glass now.
Yeah.
By the way.
Well, also Glasnow and Springs. Remember, losing Springs.
Oh, yeah. Springs is going to be out.
Massive injury.
Oh, I forgot about it. And I love how you're like, it's a nerve injury. He's going to be out for a while. He's out for a while. I believe he's having Tommy John, right?
I think he is. He's shut down from the season from what I saw.
Oh, yeah. So Tommy John, at least 2 years. Like, I believe minimum is like 18 months. Some guys have done sooner, and you're like, you shouldn't have.
Yeah,
but no.
But Tampa, I mean, the Tampa's insane. Like you look at them, they're 19-3 with a plus 88 run differential. I am super excited for this week, and I wish we had Blake on to talk about it. But
yes,
this series is going to be a very interesting test for them. But I'm
for both, really.
Yeah. For both teams, like this is a potential, like we've seen them in the playoffs obviously before. Like personally, I got to watch them in person at Petco Park when the Rays and Astros played in the ALCS a couple of years ago. But I mean, this is a juicy potential playoff matchup that we're going to see starting the week this week.
Yeah, that might that is phenomenal. And they aren't the only ones. Like Baltimore right now is 14-7. Jorge Mateo he just came back.
Former Padre, great.
Yes, former Padre. Didn't he play center for the
He was an
Padres?
outfielder in San Diego. Yes.
Yeah, and then Baltimore was like, let's put him at shortstop, and he's looked pretty good for him. I think it was yesterday. Kyle Gibson went like 7 innings, 11 strikeouts.
Huge. And I actually had a chance. I watched a little bit of Friday of the Yankees and the Blue Jays, but I also watched most of yesterday's game as well, just because I actually had a lot of free time this weekend, so I was able to watch a lot of baseball, which is really cool. So I watched yesterday's Yankees Blue Jays game, and Toronto, sorry, blew it late, but it was fun baseball. And Volk went yard late for the Yankees, and it was just a fun game to watch. But that AL East, I think, is going to be a dogfight. Like we look at the divisions right now, and I believe it is the only division in baseball where every team is above 500 right now.
It is.
Yes. And there's like no other division, as I look at it, has more than 3 teams above 500. All 5 are above 500.
Yeah, like Boston's even 12-11. Like they're staying right there. I mean, they are 7.5 back only because Tampa started the year with 13 consecutive wins. So it's not like they're that far behind. Will Tampa come back down to earth? Garrett Cole, by the way, is not giving up any runs right now. I believe his ERA is under 1, which is really impressive for the first month. Like, if he does this all year, then he'll finally be worth the deal that the Yankees signed him to. Only took what, 3 years?
I was listening to something yesterday, but we were talking about like best pitchers in baseball right now, and Garrett Cole is the best pitcher in baseball right now. You could make an argument for Shohei, but like Garrett Cole is that guy. And you want to know something that's interesting? As I'm looking at stats and looking at things, who do you think? So Tampa obviously has the most runs scored this season so far. Who do you think is second? They're in the AL East. I'll tell you that.
I mean, the fact that you said it right after, I wouldn't say the Yankees.
The Red Sox.
Really?
The Red Sox have scored 132 runs. They've given up 121, which is why they're in 4th, but they're scoring runs in Boston.
They're actually 3rd. Texas is in 2nd.
Oh, my apologies. Yes, I forgot about the Rangers, but
still, like that's really impressive. Yeah. The fact that they're 3rd, but they're giving up basically just as much. Their run differential right now is plus 11, so it's not plus 88 like Tampa is. If Tampa can keep that all season long, that's gonna be insane. Like that's got to be a right. Like I would to do the research to find out. All right, what team had like the highest run differential at the end of the season? Like if it's 88 or like over, like I'd say 60, that's impressive.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we talked about it when they started their impressive streak. If Tampa really can end the season just going 500, like they're a playoff team at this point.
Yeah, like they got that 13 games. If they go 500 the rest of the year, yeah. I think
also
I did them
undefeated at home still. 13-0 at the fortress that is the Trop.
Oh my gosh, yet no one freaking goes.
They just like playing in front of no one. What can you say?
I guess so, but AL East, because we're pretty much almost done with the first month. So we kind of have a slight glimpse at who these teams are. Some of them we don't. So we'll just have to wait and see. Yeah. All right. We're talking about another division, but we're going on the other side, the National League Central, which no one called this. I'm telling you right now, after 20 games, no one called that Pittsburgh would be 16-7. That is almost a 700 winning percentage. That is phenomenal. Like I thought Brian Reynolds, and I still do until I'm proven wrong, will not be on this roster August 1st. Because that's what they do. They trade away their talent. Could this also be a little bit of a good karma resurgence from Andrew McCutchen? Possibly. Because he's looked pretty good for him.
Yeah, he's been a quality player, and it makes me laugh because I was checking out some stuff before we got on, and one thing I read was the Pirates pitching staff praising one Austin Hedges batting 167, but him behind the plate, like Rich Hill said, like his last start he struggled a lot, and it was a mound visit from Austin Hedges that really like snapped him into it, and he cruised after that. So it's one of those things, man. You know, it's like
Would they ever
Pittsburgh
do
is
a reverse DH where the guy's only on defense and doesn't have to hit?
as a Padres fan, I would take being able to DH a catcher at this point.
Right. Except instead of hitting, they just play defense. That would be
But no,
that would be
overall, like
interesting. Baseball
Pittsburgh
doesn't
has
want
looked.
that though.
Oh no, I mean, but they also, there's pinch running rules. There's all sorts of crap that we
Yeah,
could
I don't want
truly,
to
if we
discuss
wanted to, get
those
into and talk
stupid
about how they're
rules.
trying to ruin the game. Yeah.
Those rules are stupid.
But yeah, no, I think the Pirates just finished an impressive sweep with the Reds. I think we're going to get a very interesting like gauge of what they are this week because they welcome the Dodgers on Tuesday, so
They
it will be
do.
very interesting to see how they play. But speaking of the NL Central as well, like the Cubs have looked really good. Like Dansby Swanson has been an absolute stud for them. Like they've had some great pitching outings from them. The offense is working well, so the NL Central, we talk about this, and one team we're probably not even going to need to talk about when it comes to praise is the St. Louis Cardinals, who seem to
Their
just have
pitching.
fires on fires.
Their pitching is so bad. It's a mess. It's not because they're not scoring runs. I mean, they're not really scoring that much, but their pitching has been atrocious. Like it's bad. Like it's still early in the season though that if they can make some corrections, figuring out what the issue is, they can fix it and maybe hopefully hope that Pittsburgh comes back down to earth, Milwaukee comes back down to earth to see it because I honestly thought the Cardinals were the only good team in this division right now, being proven wrong. I love when that happens in baseball. Like I just like seeing new teams do well. Like I would love to see the Pittsburgh Pirates win the NL Central and host a playoff game. Because I don't think they've hosted one
It
since 2013 against the Giants.
They had the one game playoff against the Giants, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah,
Because
yeah, but
they had a series so they had a playoff series in 2015 versus the Cubs, but I don't remember if that was home or away.
I
But
don't remember off the top of my head either as well.
It's been a while. It's been a hot minute for them.
Yeah, but speaking about the Pirates, like just an incredible start for them. Like you said, like I love seeing these teams that we really don't expect to do a lot doing a lot. So we can talk about like teams like Pittsburgh. We can talk about teams like Miami is above 500 right now, which we really didn't expect. Like Skip Schumacher's doing a lot there down there with
He
them. Like
got tossed the other day.
obviously your Diamondbacks like playing
Yeah.
really well out of the gate, like Baltimore. Like I love seeing these stories. Like and I hope it continues because it's a lot of fun and it gives you something to really keep an eye on in it and be interested in for teams that are not necessarily teams that you would normally follow, but it kind of puts an eye on them. And from what I've heard, PNC in Pittsburgh is probably the best ballpark in America, and hope to get a chance to visit there one day.
Yeah.
But
Me too.
yeah, it's like I really happy for these Pirates fans because obviously we know it's been outside of like a glimmer here and there. It's been a struggle to be a fan of that team year in and year out.
Yeah, like because they're always trading away these good players. So hopefully they can keep Brian Reynolds, because he is a great outfielder.
He's
So
fantastic. Yeah, he's someone that I've wanted in San Diego for years, but like obviously they haven't traded him because whatever reasons, if it's not getting enough prospects or him wanting to stay. But yeah, he's a great piece there, and I like you mentioned before, like having Andrew McCutchen come back, it's got to be a great leadership role for him at this point to be able to be a certain great player and also be kind of a great leader on that team. So I'm super excited to see what the Pirates do, and I will definitely keep eyes on this Pirates Dodgers series this week because I think that's going to be a really interesting gauge to see truly where they're at as a baseball team.
Yeah. Dodgers are tied with the Diamondbacks, by the way, for first place. So yeah, this is a big series there. So it's a 3-gamer. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, moving on to our series of the week. It feels weird doing this without him here, but Blake, we have to. This is a ALCS preview. Houston Astros, Tampa Bay Rays. Two teams that are looking like they are the best in the American League. You'd have some Orioles fans and Yankee fans differ, saying they think their teams are best, but I'm like, these two teams I think are the best. Tampa's in first, but Houston is actually 2.5 back of Texas. But I think this series is going to be phenomenal to watch. We got a couple of good pitching matchups. Like, there's nothing like that on like I would call it must-see appointment TV watching. Like, making sure I got nothing else going on. Like, if I have the free time, I'll watch based on the pitching matchups, but like roster-wise, I think there's going to be a lot of runs scored in this.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a very interesting series to watch because, I mean, obviously Tampa's had tests. They went to Toronto, and that's where their first losses came. But it's going to be really fun to kind of see what happens here, especially with Houston is Houston. They are the defending champs. Like when it comes to the American League, and they are like what 6-time defending champs. Like they've been in the ALCS year in and year out. So I think this is going to be a very, very interesting test for them.
Yeah. This definitely, if we could get this as an ALCS, I would love that. You have the experience, so much playoff experience there on the Astros. And then Tampa with just looking like they are going to run through Major League Baseball this year. The fact that they have 3 losses, they're 19-3, y'all. They're on a current 5-game winning streak. Like, that is impressive to me. How dominant they've been. Like, they're scoring runs. They're 88 positive run differential. That's insane. You don't hear that. Like, you'll normally see like 20 usually anywhere in the positive side, but you don't see 88 more runs scored than the runs you've given up. Phenomenal.
It's like 88 through 22 games. So like that's impressive. I think another series that we kind of briefly touched on that I think is going to be fun to watch too, and I'll definitely make a point to eye it out, is Pittsburgh Dodgers. Because at this point, I'm kind of very intrigued to see what this Pirates team is. I haven't had a chance to put a lot of eyes on them this year, so this will be a great opportunity to kind of see where they're at. And I mean, it's going to be a really tough challenge for them, but it's going to be in Pittsburgh, so it will be fun to watch as well.
Yeah, it sucks we're not going to be able to see O'Neal Cruz face the team that traded him away for literally nothing. Like, the fact is, the Dodgers have traded away Yordan Alvarez and O'Neal Cruz. 2 guys that literally, when they make contact, the ball is like a rocket. They can hit some just booming home runs.
And then yet they still are able to call some dude up like named Joe Schmo, who somehow has 9 home runs for them. Like, don't get me started on the Dodgers. I'm so annoyed with their farm system.
You mean their good player development team?
Yes, exactly.
They do a phenomenal job. So, everyone, thanks for tuning in to this shorter episode of Bases Loaded. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss any of our future content. All of our social media is in the description box below. See y'all next time.